About 10 years ago, I was recently divorced and living alone in a one-bedroom apartment. The place was clean and the rent was decent. One of those places that had a doorman. I felt safe here. I was alone and loving it, focused on my career and not my clingy ex-husband. Things were finally looking up for me. At the time, I was working pretty late at the office and would often stumble into my apartment, sleep-deprived, in the early hours of the morning and wake up by 6:30, 7-ish, to start my day. I started noticing that in the morning, my door would be unlocked sometimes. I usually dismissed this as my sleep-dead brain, thinking that the bed looked more appealing than locking the door. Another thing that I noticed since moving in was that I seemed to misplace things a lot more than I used to. Little things like a hairbrush or nail polish, that sort of thing. It wasn't really that big of a deal, just enough to be a slight annoyance in my day. The longer I lived there, the more frequently I seemed to forget to lock my door. At first, it was every once in a while. Then, it seemed like an almost everyday occurrence. More things went missing. Things like pictures, shaving razors, and most disturbingly, my underwear. This went on for long enough that I started to get a little paranoid. I started to take the time at night to make sure my door was locked. I got into a habit of, every night after I locked the door, to turn the handle 3 times and say to myself, "It's locked, it's locked, it's locked." Time after time, I would wake up and the door would be unlocked. One time, I even tried staying up all night to watch the door, but I ended up falling asleep in my chair. I decided that my mind was not reliable enough to stay up all night, so I invested in a video camera. I went all out and bought the fanciest camera I could get my hands on. So one night, I set up the camera facing the door. I hid the camera under a pile of towels on the floor. I locked the door and went to bed. When I woke up, my apartment looked normal. Nothing missing that I could see, so I decided to check out the tape. I fast-forward through hours of footage, not seeing anything. I was just about to give up when I noticed the handle of the door jitter. Then, it slowly crept open. A figure slid through the half-open door and walked towards the camera. It paused and looked around as if it was looking for something, then walked forward into direct view of the camera. I paused the camera, and the hairs on my arms and the back of my neck started to rise. I was staring straight into the face of the maintenance man of the building. I could see those big, thick glasses and curly hair. I had no doubt who it was. I played the tape a little more. He looked comfortable as he walked around the apartment. Then, he turned and walked towards my bedroom, and out of the view of the camera. I didn't know what to do. Sobbing, I called the police. I tried to explain over the phone, but I couldn't. Soon enough, 2 officers arrived at my doorstep. I told them everything and showed them the tape. I remember seeing the blood drain from their faces. They promised me that I was safe, and that they were going to get the guy. I needed to lie down, but didn't want to be alone. One of the officers offered to stand outside my apartment door as I took a nap. As I was laying in bed, unable to sleep, but too drained to move, something kept nagging at me. I laid there for a few minutes, tossing and turning, unable to get comfortable or rest. My mind was racing. Then, a realization slowly washed over me and chilled me to the bone. We watched the tape and saw the man enter my house, but we never saw him leave. I froze, then started shaking. I needed to get to the front door. I sat up and looked around my room. I couldn't see anyone. I swung my legs over the side of the bed cautiously. My feet hit the cold wood floor, and I felt warm breath on my ankles. I raced out of my apartment as fast as I could, into the safety of the police officer. He called for backup. They found the man under my bed, clutching a knife and a Polaroid camera. To this day, I cannot sleep alone.